Hi Flosstube, I hope all's well. My name is Kirsty, Crafting Kirsty here on YouTube and on Instagram. It is Friday the 15th of August and I am back with a cross-stitching update. So we're in a new location, as you can see. I finally have my wall that I can now sit in front of. So very quickly, this quilt is the Lady Tulip quilt. It was a quilt along from Laundry Basket Quilts a couple of years ago now. And I ordered it and had the laser cut pieces shipped over. So that's now finished and hanging. Really pleased with this. This crochet blanket is an Attic 24 pattern. I can't remember the name of the pattern, but the kit's available in the Wool Warehouse. I'm sure it still will be available. It's obviously a summery one, and I think it's probably something like the Ripple or the Beach Waves or something beachy summery. Underneath here, another crochet blanket is Muttley. He's busy, catching up on his much needed sleep because he does nothing all day. Oh God, pointing out the screen, that's not very good, is it? That is the Morris Dancer by GGR. I finished that last year, or 2 years ago in October. That was a stitch along with a whole group of friends from the Essex Needles Retreat. I'll just show you around into the corner. There's another, oh, this is harder than it looks. That piece, you can't see very well. It's the Sassy Girl sampler that she put out in 2020. It was a charity piece for the pandemic. And then the Singer sewing machine that I found in a skip in Sheffield, and hanging off it you can just about make out my wonky donkey, which is a Christmas decoration that Stitchy Rach bought for me and gave to me at the Essex Needles Retreat. She said, I saw it, thought of you, and so he sits there over my shoulder watching my stitching. So let's try and get this back a bit. Ooh, sorry, excuse me. So there we go, ish. Right. Cross-stitching. Have I got to cross-stitch? Yes, I have got to the cross-stitching stage. I've had a big finish. I've had some progress on some projects. I've had a few new starts. I have haul and I have plans. So we'll start with the big finish. Very excited about this. So I have finished the Huntsman from the Scarlet Letter. I started this a good few years ago now. I can't remember when. I don't keep diaries, I'm sorry. I'm one of those people, every new year, every January I go out and I buy a nice little book and I buy some pens, and it lasts for about a week, 2 weeks maximum. I just don't do it. But yeah, it's been on the go for a few years, let's put it this way. And it is finished and fully framed, which is going to be the best way to show this. So there we go. So this is just a very cheap frame from the range, which is, cheap shop in England. It's just wooden and brown. So yes, I think this is done. It's either done on a 25 count or a 27 count. 2/2. Absolutely love it. I have a few more in this style that once I've got a couple of other samplers finished, I will be picking out another one of these. Now the frame, if you can see, because I'm going to point it out, at the very top and at the very bottom, doesn't quite sit in frame. So I did think, I could get it back out and just add another couple of lines of blue and whatever. I don't think that's going to happen. It will just go on the wall like this, which is absolutely fine. I am so pleased with this. I love it. I love stitching it. Sometimes it was a drag, but it was also very easy. Once you've done the outline, you then just filled in, and yeah, so a few years on the go, but now finished, and I'm really, really pleased with it. And I know, I think Janet Dodd has bought this pattern, and I think Alison Stitching Whippet also wants to stitch this. So that will be in the post. So that's my big finish. So I'm just leaning over the dog because he can't possibly move. I'm actually just going to pull my things, and now you've seen the blanket, I'll put those over there because it's easier to reach them. Right, what have I worked on? I will start with the needle 2. This is by Leela's Studio. Sorry, I'm not used to this new filming location. So I don't know really which, because we've got a big window that side. So I think you probably get a better view that way. Anyway, Leela's studio with Thy Needle 2. This was a start. I bullied Stitchy Rach into starting a couple of years ago for her birthday. I think we both sort of started and did a little bit, and then obviously got waylaid with other plans. I have cracked on a bit more with this. So initially, when I picked it up, I wanted to fill in this block. So I had done, sorry, can't see a thing. I had done the border, and I think I'd done the border and the alphabet and the deer, I think basically. And I'd started on the outline of this block. So I have since filled in the block, which I'm very happy with. And then I really enjoy stitching on this piece. I don't know whether it's the fabric or whether it's just the pattern. So I then decided to carry on with it, because I think that took me about a week to fill in that block, to carry on with it. And I have done all the over one wording and the outline around the over one wording. Now, this over one wording probably took me about 2 weeks of just picking it up and doing a couple of threads every morning. And by the end of it, I was saying some very rude things. Verbal diarrhea, I believe the person, whoever quoted this, had. I'm sure that, you know, all things can be stitched by hand would have done. But no, we have gone on and on and on and on. But it is done. It is done. And that is done over one. And actually I'm very pleased with it now it's done, but did not enjoy it. It's not my favourite part of stitching. So I'm quite pleased with the progress I've made on that. I've filled in one of the blocks and I've done all the over one stitching. And we will come back to that in plans. And then in between working those two sort of areas on that piece, I was basically doing a week on that, and then I'd pick something else, and then I'd go back to that for a week. And I was I think I had grand plans at the beginning of the year. They all went to kaput. And I am now just aiming to touch all of my whips throughout the year, hopefully try and get another big finish. And I think I will probably try and do a week on one project to another, go back to the first project until that first project is finished. Anyway, I'll talk more about that in plans. So another piece, and this isn't in chronological order because I can't remember what order I did it in. The next piece I picked up was this Sample Company from Brenda Keys, the Tall Ship Sampler. Again, this was started many years ago. And this time when I picked, so this is being done on, with Thy Needle, I think is on an Access Commodities. Is that the name of the fabric? Access Commodities fabric, which I really enjoy. Anyway, so this one is being done, I think, probably on a 27 count Linda, so it'll be quite large again. I had all of this top section completed. So I came down, I think I had done the church and various sections of that. And what I actually did was I filled in all the beach. I filled in all the water. I'm not sure if I did the words or not. I can't remember whether I had those in to begin with or not. But anyway, so having sort of done that chunk of it, I thought, well, that's a section done. I'll put it down and move on to another piece now. So yeah, again, when I pick it up, I really enjoy stitching this. All the call for DMC, everything with the exception of the With Thy Needle is DMC. And as I said, I think that's 27 count, just antique white. Is it Linda that's 27 count? Then I picked up Maria Juanaria, 1833-34. Now we started this myself, Stitchy Rach and Elaine, Ellie Welly Stitcher, started this a couple of years ago for my birthday. And I think Elaine, when I saw her at the Essex Needles Retreat, said, oh, I'm calling it a day with that one. I'm not going to stitch it. Or I'm certainly going to shelve it away for a long time. And then in her last video, she was like, no, I think I'm going to work on it now. It's fine, there's no pressure. Do what you want. It's your own thing. But yeah, so that is what a huge, huge, huge piece, of course. This is being done on a 36 count, just white Zweigart. And this time I worked that house in. That was a lot of stitching. A lot of stitching. You see that? Oh, that's probably a bit better there. So yeah, so I put the house in. So I already had what was done as the border and the flower pot. So I decided to put the house in this time. I think that's completed. I was looking at it before I sat. Yeah, no, that is completed. So I then decided that, well, I've done a lump. It's a very small lump compared to the big lump that is the chart, but I've done a lump of that, so I will now put that down. Again, called for DMC. Very different colours in that to ones that I would normally gravitate to. I mean, it's more, I gravitate towards the chart. I like the chart, I like all the bits. But yeah, there are some colours in there I would not normally, and I mean, I like them now, I'm stitching with them, don't get me wrong, but sort of quite a lot of pinks and, yeah, in there, which doesn't normally occur within my stitching. Okay, the next piece, or another piece I picked up, is the Eunice Tanqueray sampler by Manny Dodonna. So this was a chart I bought having watched Reese Stitches, or Stitching with Reese. She did a Flosstube last year and showed this piece, and I absolutely loved it. I then showed it to Janet and Elaine at one of the Essex Needles retreats, and convinced them both to buy it. And then I was watching Sian, the Periwinkle Stitcher, and she was talking about starting this piece, and I said, well, if you hold off, you can start with Janet and I, if you'd like to, on January the 1st. So we all started on January the 1st on this piece. I think, I can't remember, I can never remember if Sian's using the correct fabric or not. I know Janet is. I'm not. I don't know what fabric I am using. I'm using all the call for DMC. It does only call for DMC in this one. And so up until this time I pulled it out, I'd been working on the border, which is it's a very pretty border, but it's quite fiddly. Quite a few colour changes, and so I thought, oh, I can't be doing that. Anyway, I want to do something else. So I picked out this flower, and I did this flower and said, sorry, I'm going to fold it over. There we go. So yeah, I've stitched that flower into, and these are lovely, lovely, delicate colours. Yeah, this is going to be gorgeous when it's done. It's just going to take quite a while to get done. And as I said, the border is a bit of a headache, but it looks fantastic, you know, and it is one of the things that drew me to it when Reese showed it, was her border. I was like, oh god, I love the colours on that. So yeah, so again, you know, that's a lump done on it. Oh, and then we're down to start. Sorry, so those are old whips that I've picked up and put an amount into, and now we have start. So was it June or July? John and I went down. We're walking the southwest coast footpath in sections. Every year we just go down and do sort of 2 or 3 days at a time. And whenever I get down there, I say, you know, I love the sea, I love the water, I love the beaches, and I sort of then get all nautical. And I was like, I've really got to stitch something nautical. So I pulled out, where is it? Oh, okay. So I pulled out, well, no, what happened was, I think I really like to stitch something nautical. And I can't remember who, somebody was talking about the fact that the primitive needle was up for sale again. You could buy her charts again. And so I had a quick look at those, and she's got a couple of great mermaid ones. I said, oh, I'd really like to do one of those. And I thought, no, I knew I had this piece in my stash. Saying, no, you can't buy another piece. Stitch the one that you've got. You liked it, you bought it, stitch it. So, anyway, I eventually started this, but by the time I started it, we'd then started harvest, which of course the first stubble field, then I'm on to autumn. Anyway, so I've started this. I am not using the called for DMC, which also slowed down my start on it somewhat. And I've got so far and I've gone wrong. It's only a little bit, and I need to pull it back out, and I will continue on this. So that's as far as I've got so far. So it's a bit pitiful, really. But I've started the mermaid and I've gone wrong in her arm up here somewhere. So yeah, I just need to pull that little section out and then redo it. But as I said, by this point we'd started harvesting, and you know, stubble fields equal autumn. But I think these smalls, because the 3 starts that I've had are all smalls, and I will just be doing, you know, pick them up and do a thread until I get them completed. So yeah, I do like that. Again, you know, I was trying to be good, stitching from my stash rather than buying a new chart. This fabric I bought, I don't know what this fabric, whose this fabric is, but I bought it specifically. I bought this from the shop in Great Yarmouth, the needlework shop in Great Yarmouth. I can't remember the name of it. Lovely shop, lovely lady who runs it. But at the time when I went in, I bought a whole load of fabric, and this was one I bought specifically to do a sort of coastal maritime nautical piece on. And I think it does work really well for it. And I'm enjoying stitching on it, apart from the fact I've gone wrong. So I will pick that up and pull it out at some point. And then we had our annual fancy bracket start. So this is a fancy bracket sal. That's the wrong piece. Hang on a minute, sorry. Here we go. So for the last 4, possibly 5 years now, a group of us have started a fancy bracket on the 1st of August. And we rotate to see who chooses. And the group's growing, which is lovely. We have a little Instagram chat and people are posting their progress and things. So at the moment in the group, we've got Elaine of Ellie Welly Stitcher. We've got @Ali Stitches. We have Alison Stitching Whippet. Sally Flossie Sews and Grows. And Laura and Laurel. And I'm really sorry, I don't know why I haven't got your Instagram names. And at the moment, your names are in my phone, which I'm using to record. So next time I will make sure I've got your proper handles. Anyway, I can't remember whose turn it was to choose this year, but there was definitely some coercive persuasion going on. And we started Fancy Black at a Humble Abode. You'll have to excuse the black and white. There we go. And again, I don't know what fabric I'm using. I'm sorry. And so far to date, I'm using all the Call for DMC, and so far to date, I have got to there. So I've done the outline of the sort of border, the flower pot, and I'm starting to outline the house. I think there's a lot of filling in the house. I know, I think Alison has finished hers. I think she might be the only one to have finished. I don't know, I can't remember, I'm sorry. But yeah, so as ever, it's good sal, it's good fun having the chat to people about and seeing everyone's progress. So that's this year's sal. And then, as I said, stubble fields, autumn. So I think I must have bought this one. I think I probably bought this whilst I was buying the fancy bracket. And so I bought Country Rustic Primitives by Jenny Hoffman, the Autumn Pin Keep. Again, black and white, I'm sorry, but it's very, very simple. Scrap of fabric, I don't know what it is. This is 1/2 or DMC, and that is as far as I've got so far. And then I think I'd got to this point, and then I've just been on an absolute crochet bender for the last couple of weeks. Which I will talk about in my crochet and knitting podcast in a month or so's time. But yes, so that will be the Autumn Pin Keep. That's everything I've worked on. So plans. My plan basically is I will keep on rotating my With Thy Needle. I would quite like to get this finished by the end of this year. Da, da, da. Will it happen? No idea. But I think if I work on it for a week, pull out another project, work on that for a week, and then bring this back in. I do enjoy stitching on it. So yeah, so I would quite like to get this finished. And I think I've got the worst out of the way with all this 1/1 stitching. I really do. The other sort of, you know, they're not full coverage, but there is heavy stitching in those. I don't mind that sort of stitching. I prefer that to the 1/1. So I'm putting it out there. I hope to finish this by the end of the year. And then the other projects, because I've had quite a lot of new starts, I've got a few more new starts still to go. I will just, you know, rotate them so that everything has been worked on this year, because I think last year there were quite a few things that weren't touched, or maybe it was the year before, I can't remember. The years go by so quickly, I just don't know where I am. Right, haul, because there has been haul, obviously there's been haul. Actually, I say that, I had been quite good, and then it was my birthday in July, so I did buy a big chart in July, which I'm very excited about. But I will start with my first section of haul, are these 3 charts, which I bought for 1, 2, 3 Stitch because they were having a sale on, oh god, I've just taken front pages out of things and now I don't know what they're, oh that must be that. So I bought 3 GGR charts. There's a group of us that really like GGR charts, and we decided we'd all sort of expand our stash of them so that hopefully we're always going to have certain charts available to all of us should we need it. So we then had an absolutely manic group chat of everyone saying what they've got and what they were going to buy, and it all got very confusing, and I did end up sort of coming off the chat, ordering my chart and just thinking, I should imagine we're just going to end up with all 8 of us are going to have the same chart. I don't think we have. Anyway, in my little selection, I chose, and I'm sorry, I didn't say this at the start, I should have, you'll have to excuse the state of my hands. My son and I have been taking down a barbed wire fence, and you know, there's only one loser in that game, and that would be me. So my first chart I bought was Elise Schluter, 1866, which I think is going to become Slutty Elise. So there we go, lovely rosy border. I don't think I've stitched a butterfly or a moth yet within a sampler. Rather a dark picture. I'm sure it'll be lovely when it's done. Second chart I bought was the 20 years sampler. Another rather poor photo, I'm afraid, but just very simple, basic, quite primitive, I think, personally. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I think, oh, that won't take long. I haven't got the chart to tell, I haven't got the piece out without lots of crinkling to tell me how big it is. There's a lot of open space in there. I'll whip it up in no time. And then the third chart I bought, which is a real lesson in read the fine print, is Emanuela Cianello. I'm sorry, I butchered that, I'm sure. A sampler from Italy. So basically the sampler is the long one across the top, and then the 4 bottom ones are just enlarged pieces so you can see what it is. So that's all around. I thought, oh, I love that. That looks great. We've got a wonky donkey. We've got some, you know, yeah, no, I like it all. That's good. Then when you get the chart and you read it, oh, it's not really complicated. Some of the stitches are over 3, some are over 2. It's all very, oh no. I was reading it to go, no, that's not going to happen. I am just going to buy a big piece of fabric. Everything's going to be done over 2, and I will just wrangle it onto that piece of fabric somewhere. I mean, essentially, it's a big, long piece, and there's a border at the bottom. So surely, as long as you do the border at the bottom first, and then just start working your way down, and making sure you've got space for the next motif that's going in, it'll be fine. On our way down to the southwest coastal footpath, I suddenly realised we were going to be going quite close to Cowslip, the shop Cowslip. All of my friends had been there the previous week on a Stacey Nash retreat, And so obviously I was very jealous of that. So I managed to convince John to go to the shop on the basis that there was a cafe. And so we went, and it was lovely to go. I've never been before. I like the idea of wool work. I have quite a lot of wool in my stash. I haven't done any of it. So I didn't need any more wool. I didn't need any more fabric, as in quilting fabric. And so I just picked up a couple of cross-stitch charts. And the first one I got was the Stacey Nash Primitives Old White Farmhouse Sampler. Excuse the glare. So I do like that one. And I also picked up the Spring Chickens Binky, because I do like that. So that was, oh, and then I also picked up a knitting blanket book from there. But I'll show that on a different video. And then I think, okay, so my other just general stash was I have ended up buying Saviour's Praise by Shakespeare's Peddler. So this is one of my friend Jan's 6 for 60. She has already started this piece. I didn't have it when I did decide that I was going to join her in it. Arts and Designs were out, so they emailed me when they had it and I bought it straight away. I have now kitted it up, so at some point I will get around to starting this within the next, month or so. And then my biggie purchase, which I'm very excited about, which I bought for my birthday. I don't really have unicorn charts because I think there's so many lovely charts out there that actually just to, lust after one chart, there are lots to stitch. But there are some charts that are just like, oh, if I could get my hands on that, I'd really like to. And I thought for a long time this was out of print. And then Carol's Saltbox Stitcher is stitching it. And Narissa's Stitching Life is stitching it. And then a friend at the Essex Needles Retreat said, oh, you can get that from Traditional Stitches in Canada. So I have bought exemplars from the heart, and they send. It's going to be huge. It's going to be huge. I'm going to have to do it on 36 or 40, which means it's still going to be absolutely huge. No plans as of yet to start it, but I will do it at some point. So yeah, so that's another massive chart to add to the stash. So I'm really pleased to have that one. Really pleased to have that one now. Yeah. And I don't know, I think you can get it from the lady, I can't remember her name now. She's all over Instagram. She buys the rights to people's patterns. So I think you can get it from there. But as I said, I got mine from Traditional Stitches in Canada. And I didn't have to pay at the time. Well, now I'm from Canada anyway, would I? I didn't have to pay anything at this end. I did only buy the one chart, but it was quite an expensive chart. But I didn't have to buy anything from this end. I didn't have to pay anything from this end. So that's quite good. So I talked about my start on Saviour's Praise. I still have, so this is plans we're into now. Sorry, if you haven't kept up without plans. I've got that's part of the Janet 6 for 60. I have got the Virginia, a Cumberland Country Inspiration. This will be started in October at the Great British Sampler Retreat. Janet. I also have, is it ATS or the AJS? I'm never quite sure. 1871 from GGR. This will be started in October with a couple of friends as well. So I'm looking forward to that. And I actually have a retreat piece I need to stitch for the Great British Sampler weekend. So I probably ought to get on with that. It doesn't look huge, but you never know. It will probably, no doubt, as per usual, I'll be stitching it before we walk into the room. Just finishing it off, don't worry. So yeah, so I've got a retreat piece to stitch for that. And I think that is about all that I have to say. That was really quick. I must have because I was getting all this ready, thinking, oh, I've got quite a lot to talk about here. Ah, still only half an hour. There we go. Thank you very much if you've joined me. I hope you've liked what you've seen. I hope I've enticed you into buying some more charts. And next video I'll be back with will be a knitting and crochet video. So it will probably be a good few months before I come back with another cross-stitching one. Enjoy the summer, the rest of the summer. Enjoy the sunshine. Take care.